Little Red Riding Hood. There once lived a little girl in a small village. Everyone loved her because she was cheerful, good, and kind. She always helped others. But it was her grandmother who loved her the most. Granny lived in other village on this another side of the woods. On her birthday, Granny gave the little girl a lovely gift. It was a red riding cape with a hood. "Thank you, Granny," said the little girl. She loved the cape and wore it all the time. So her mother began to call her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother packed a basket of sandwiches, biscuits, and fruits. "Granny is ill. Take this to her," said her mother. Handling the basket to Little Red Riding Hood. "And be careful when you go through the woods. Keep going on the path. Don't talk to any stranger," said her mother before leaving. Little Red Riding Hood sang and danced as she was through the woods. A wolf asked her where she was going. "I am taking some food for Granny," she replied. "She lived in the next village." "Pick some flowers for her too," said the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood began picking flowers. The wolf then rushed to Granny's cottage. He peeped through the window and saw Granny is in bed. She was reading a book. He knocked the door. "Come in, the door is open," said Granny. The wolf came in quietly and pounced on Granny. She cried out and tried to run away, but the wolf pushed her into the cupboard and locked it. Then he put on her blue nightcap and got into the bed. He pulled the quilt over himself and was waiting for the Little Red Riding Hood to come. When Little Red Riding Hood entered the cottage, she saw Granny and said, "What a big eyes you have, Granny." "The better to see you with, my dear," said the wolf. "And what a big ears you have," she said. "The better to hear you with," said the cunning old wolf. "And what a big teeth you have, Granny," said the Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf licked his lips and said, "The better to eat you with," and jumped out of the bed. The Little Red Riding Hood cried out. She dropped the basket and ran. But the wolf caught the little girl, gobbled her up in one gulp, and got back into the bed and went to sleep. A hunter passing by heard the little girl cried out. He saw the cottage door was open. He went in and saw a dropped basket of fruits and the wolf fast asleep. The hunter knew at once that the wolf must have gobbled up the little girl. He stamped out loudly on the floor. The wolf woke up and saw the hunter with his gun. His mouth fell open in surprise, and Little Red Riding Hood popped out. The hunter shot the wolf and he fell down dead. Then Little Red Riding Hood and the hunter began to search everywhere for Granny. They found her inside the cupboard. Little Red Riding Hood smiled and said, "Oh, Granny, I'm so glad that you're safe." Just then, Little Red Riding Hood's mother came in looking for her. Little Red Riding Hood told her the whole story. Then she got the plates of sandwiches and biscuits, the teapot and the cups. They all sat down at the table for tea. So, the moral of the story is, you must never trust a stranger. Even a very friendly stranger may have very bad intentions.